Mary Kay.
That is the most improbable development we've seen in a long time, given the amount of time he's missed. You talk to quarterbacks that have torn an Achilles, it is a skill diminishing injury. He's done it twice. And when you talk to quarterbacks at the end of their careers, like the Brett Favres, the Dan Marinos, it's not their arm, it's their feet and their legs. And I would just be surprised, like when the bullets are flying and he has to show some short area quickness, movement in the pocket, I would just be surprised, given the amount of time that he has, that he could still move. I have no doubt that he could throw the ball effectively. Like, this offense should be way better, but I would just be surprised that Deshaun Watson could start and play at a high level for 17 games.
With my breaking news here that Deshaun Watson has taken the lead over Shedeur Sanders in the Browns quarterback competition and has the inside track to win it, I think they should declare him QB1 ASAP and let the first team offense start to cook. There's no time to waste. This is what Mary Kay has said. Guys, if this is true,
the mainstream media just got caught in a massive, embarrassing lie, and the entire narrative surrounding the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation has officially imploded. For weeks, we have been fed a very specific, very manufactured story designed to push Shedeur Sanders into the background while resurrecting the career of a veteran who hasn't been relevant on a football field in years. But today, the mask slipped. A top-tier NFL executive and one of the most respected evaluators in the history of the draft just went on record and blew the entire thing apart. They didn't just disagree with the Watson is back hype, they exposed it as a medical and tactical fairy tale that absolutely no one inside a real NFL front office is actually buying. If you've been feeling like something was off about the reporting coming out of Cleveland lately, you were right. We are about to go through exactly how the media tried to gaslight you and why Mike Tannenbaum just ended Mary Kay Cabot's entire career narrative in less than 60 seconds.
That is where this whole thing could fall apart in a very public and very painful way.
Even Cleveland Brown reporters and former players is going off, bruh, because Mary Kay has to be stopped. She gotta be stopped, bro, because I don't know who keep feeding her information, but it's looking very, very interesting to me that she's trying to create a narrative, and we know who the people is that rock out with her narratives. We know the reporters that goes in and show love to Mary Kay, but I'm telling you right now, this is not a good look if you're a Shedeur Sanders fan.
Now, take all of that and put it next to what Mary Kay Cabot decided to run with.
Mike Tannenbaum did not come on air to be polite or play the typical media games. He came with a cold, hard medical reality check that every honest football fan already knew in the back of their mind, but was too terrified to say out loud. Deshaun Watson has torn his Achilles not once, but twice, 2 times, and Tannenbaum made it plain that this is not the kind of injury a quarterback just bounces back from like nothing happened. He pointed to legends at the end of their careers, guys like Brett Favre and Dan Marino, and said the thing that breaks them down is never the arm. It is always the legs. It is the feet. It is that explosive short area quickness inside the pocket that separates a functional starter from a massive liability. Watson has missed an insane amount of time, and Tannenbaum is genuinely surprised that anyone inside that building actually believes he can go out there for 17 games and perform at a high level. That word, surprised, means everything coming from a man who has evaluated quarterbacks at the highest level for decades. The arm might still be able to flick the ball, but when the bullets start flying and the pocket collapses, those 2 Achilles tears become a death sentence for an NFL offense.
And that'll hold true in the quarterback room. We're looking for performance. We like to keep at least 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster, provided that they earn the spot, and another on the practice squad.
Where does Shedeur sit right now? What are your expectations for him this year?
To take another step and keep growing and learning. I think he's had a really nice offseason. He did a really nice job at voluntary minicamp. I think his improvements in decision-making and pocket management by the end of the year, and certainly what we've seen so far in a very short spring, have been positive. And I expect him to have more command of the offense and better ball security and situational awareness as we go into year 2.
Does Deshaun have an advantage over him?
I don't know that any player has an advantage. I think certainly experience helps. I wouldn't say that in and of itself gives any player an advantage. But at the end,
now, take all of that reality and put it directly next to what Mary Kay Cabot decided to run with. She went out there and declared Watson the clear frontrunner. She said the Browns should declare him QB1 ASAP and let the first-team offense start to cook. It was a disaster of a take, delivered with maximum confidence and zero accountability. She offered no medical context, no acknowledgement of the two devastating injuries, no engagement with the fact that informed football people are openly questioning whether Watson can even move anymore. Instead, she gave Cleveland fans a reason to stop trusting absolutely everything that comes out of her media circle. If the front office actually listened to this kind of media pressure and moved Watson ahead of Shedeur Sanders, it would finish the relationship between the fans and the team. Not just strained, finished. Because it would prove the decision wasn't made on merit or talent. It was made because the narrative won. And that should make every single person in the dog pound furious. Shedeur Sanders has handled his business, put in the work, and yet he's sitting in a competition that is being rigged against him by people determined to see him fail before he ever takes a real snap.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's like I don't get it. I really don't understand what's going on with Shedeur. I don't understand why people just want to keep the hating and hating and hating. It's like I don't get it. I mean, leave the kid alone, please.
Totally
come
agree.
on.
Totally
they won't
agree.
give this kid. They won't give him any credit for anything he did. They bring up QBR. I got a name for QBR, and I won't repeat what it is. But I'm not going to say what I say to everybody else on the air. But it doesn't mean anything to me. None of this stuff means that you watch. There was an article where Kuiper's talking about Sanders. Do you even watch the games? Yeah, I watch them. Do you? Is what I would say to that guy. Do you? I watched every snap Shedeur had. You obviously didn't. I'm talking about the guy that wrote that article. He obviously didn't. He looked at QBR, looked at whatever nonsense he wanted to look at, and he made his determination. He didn't watch every snap. We did, right? We did. And I know I did.
Yep.
And I saw every play he made. I saw everything. There's going to be some good, bad, and ugly, but there's a lot of pretty good.
But here is where the spooky part of the story begins to fall apart. Andrew Berry, the general manager who actually holds the keys to the franchise, just ended the Watson conversation without even raising his voice. He was asked directly if Watson has an advantage over Shedeur, and he looked at that question and said a flat-out no. Not maybe, not it's complicated, just no. He said experience helps, but experience alone does not give any player an advantage. Read that slowly and let it sink in. The man who controls the roster refused to give his high-priced veteran a single edge over a sophomore quarterback. That is not an accident. That is a man who knows exactly who he is building this team around. Berry went on to praise Shedeur's decision-making, his command of the offense, and his pocket management, calling all of it positive. Every single word that came out of the GM's mouth was forward-moving and full of genuine belief in number two. This isn't a fan talking. This is the architect of the team telling the world that Shedeur Sanders is growing, improving, and exactly on the right track. Watson's entire case rested on the experience card, and Andrew Berry just pulled that card right out of his hand. So now what? What is left of the pro-Watson campaign when the general manager refuses to credit him with an automatic advantage? Watson has not played meaningful high-level football in a long time. He is coming back from physical damage that most executives would call a disaster waiting to happen. Berry didn't attack Watson, but he did something much more powerful. He refused to protect him. In the NFL, that kind of silence speaks at full volume. What we are seeing now is the gap between the real Cleveland Browns and the media version of the Browns becoming impossible to ignore. Shedeur is not fighting an uphill battle inside that facility. He is doing exactly what a franchise quarterback does in year two. He is taking absolute command, and the people who actually matter in that organization are watching with a smile on their face. And then we have to talk about Mel Kiper, because he is finally tired of the laziness. Kiper has been watching prospects longer than most of these Sanders haters have been writing about football. He is not a casual observer who skims a box score and forms an opinion. He watches every single snap. And his conclusion? There is a lot of pretty good out there when it comes to Shedeur. Kiper didn't just defend the kid, he issued a direct accusation against the people writing negative articles. He told them straight up, you didn't watch the film. He called out the reliance on QBR specifically, making it clear that a single metric means nothing when you haven't sat down to watch the quarterback operate in real time. Numbers without context are just noise, and the people using that noise to build a case against Shedeur are being exposed by the most respected evaluator in the business. The level of hate aimed at Shedeur has reached a point where it can't be explained by football logic anymore. Kiper himself said he doesn't understand it, and told the critics to leave the kid alone. When Mel Kiper looks at a situation and says he can't make sense of the criticism, that tells you the entire story. This isn't about arm talent or pocket presence. Those would be football conversations. This is something uglier. It is a coordinated pile-on dressed up as analysis, and it is falling apart because the people with real credibility are no longer staying quiet. Shedeur Sanders walked into this process as one of the most scrutinized prospects in history, and he handled every second of it. He didn't crack. He didn't complain. He just put his head down and worked, while people who never threw a professional pass questioned his heart. The wall is finally cracking. The damage being done to Shedeur by lazy takes and bad faith reporting is being called out by voices too big to ignore. Tannenbaum called out the medical reality. Barry called out the lack of advantage. Kiper called out the lack of film study. The tide is turning, and the people who built their platforms on tearing this kid down are going to have a very hard time explaining themselves when Shedeur is under center, running that Cleveland offense, and winning games. The lies Mary Kay Cabot tried to build are collapsing in real time, and the people who tried to bury this kid just handed him the biggest motivation of his entire career. Cleveland deserves the truth, and they are finally starting to get it. If you are tired of the media lying to your face, and you're ready to see the real Shedeur Sanders era begin, hit that like button and subscribe right now. We are not stopping until every one of these lazy takes is exposed. What do you think? Is it time to officially name Shedeur the starter, or are you still buying the Mary Kay propaganda?